Seconds away on Studio 5.
I'm not no Twitter. No, I'm not on Twitter.
The world is watching this little kid with the big voice. And now he's on Studio 5 with his amazing parents.
Take me back. How did this all start? Was he singing in church? Someone recorded it? What happened?
Also ahead on Studio 5.
I will praise you in the storm.
She's a voice and a name you'll want to get to know. Alex Seals is here.
Here I am, writing music now from that moment of not learning how not to not be afraid.
And then
when your legs don't work like they used to before.
the emotional story behind this unforgettable America's Got Talent contestant.
I was in a plane crash when I was 16 years old back in Nigeria.
Hold your heart and grab your tissue. Studio 5 starts now. Those stories and much more are ahead here on Studio 5. Welcome to the show. Let's begin with our weekly countdown of the best stories in the world of uplifting entertainment news. Here are the first two. At number 5.
If the universe created you, but who created the universe?
PureFlix, the filmmakers behind the God's Not Dead franchise, is donating $25,000 to replace the 6-foot Ten Commandments monument in Arkansas after a man crashed his car into it less than 24 hours after it was installed on Capitol grounds.
You're under arrest. For what?
Contempt of court. You failed to produce your sermons upon court order.
PureFlix filmed God's Not Dead 2 in Little Rock and begins production of God's Not Dead 3 there this fall. At number 4, and also from PureFlix.
We've been married 19 years. We don't share the same life. We don't share anything.
The upcoming film, Same Kind of Different as Me, is the real-life story of an international art dealer who befriends a homeless man to save his own struggling marriage.
I had another dream last night.
Was it a good one, or was it about me?
It was about a poor wise man who changes the city.
Ron Hall's wife's dreams lead all three of them on the journey of their lives. In a Studio 5 exclusive, he shares memories of that homeless man, Denver Moore.
Denver had his own language, his own vocabulary. He used to tell me things like, Mr. Ron, if the devil ain't messing with you, he's already got you.
Tell your woman to stop bothering me.
You'd be doing me a big favor to just be nicer.
You want to be my friend?
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm gonna have to think about that.
The film hits theaters October 20th. And those are just the first two headlines in this week's countdown. We'll get to the remaining three a little later in the show. Our next guest has made the Studio 5 countdown twice at just 5 years old. Caleb Serrano has appeared on 2 national television shows. He is a pint-sized worship leader. And when he sings, people of all ages are blown away. Behind that big voice and big personality is a great and wonderful kid and parents as well. I sat down with all three of them for this week's Studio 5 interview. That booming voice from this Greensboro church is 5-year-old Caleb Serrano. He's a pint-sized worship leader, attracting the eyes and ears of millions.
And now the drop the mic moment inside a North Carolina church, the video going viral.
From the first second you hear him, you kind of can't believe it. But Caleb Serrano, he's got the voice.
Hey, everybody. I'm on ABC News.
Who encouraged you to get up and sing?
Really, my papa.
Your papa. That was your grandfather, then your papa. Yeah. Did he give you the mic and say, I want you to sing this? What happened?
I just kept on listening, and God gave me a voice to sing. Yes, Papa, stand up. Come on. Come on. Yeah, come on.
And Papa was in the audience when Caleb made his appearance on the hit show Little Big Shots.
Down in my soul, I got a hold of me. Oh, I
Mercy.
Caleb has been singing for how long?
Caleb's been singing for a long time. I noticed him having a drive for music since he's been about 1. He's always loved music, but he's been singing since he was about able to talk. It's been a blessing that so many people are touched by my little one, my blessing. So just hope that we can continue to do what God has us to do. But it's been wonderful. I mean, it's fabulous.
So I imagine those blessings for you through him came long before the rest of the world started seeing.
Absolutely. However, it's just amazing that you don't really see what you have, that gift that you have, until other people kind of start commenting. And to be real about it, it's almost like, Caleb, be quiet. Caleb, what are you doing? Caleb, close the door. Until somebody else they can appreciate, and then you stop and pay attention.
We couldn't help but to pay attention when Caleb allowed us to sit in on his rehearsal here at New Hope Baptist Church in Hampton, Virginia. Lily in the Valley is an old familiar tune from gospel singer John P. Key.
You know John P. Key? He's in North Carolina too, isn't he?
He's in Charlotte.
He's in Charlotte. Have you met him?
I just went in Charlotte to do Joy Fest.
Nice. So you sang at Joy Fest.
Yeah.
How cool was that?
That was amazing.
Now, who is your favorite gospel singer right now? Who do you like to listen to?
Anthony Brown.
I've met Anthony Brown and interviewed him too. What's your favorite song from him?
I really met him too.
You did? Tell me what that was like.
Cool.
Cool?
And I interviewed him too.
You interviewed him? What did you ask him?
He asked me questions.
What did he ask you? Do you remember?
He just said that on Harry, I was his favorite singer.
Nice. So that was Harry Connick Jr.'s show.
Yeah.
What was it like meeting Harry Connick Jr.?
It was great. He's sweet, I know. And he's sweet, I know.
So, Dad, how does it feel to have such a gifted son?
It's truly a blessing. The words can't really describe the feeling, the raw emotion, the adulation, and it's just a different. It's a challenge. It's really a challenge.
What's been the biggest surprise for you in this journey so far?
The biggest surprise for me would have to be just the positive feedback from around the world, not just locally but internationally. How people are reaching out to Caleb to tell us about how he's touching their lives and what his gift has done for them. And these are people that've never seen him. These are people that all they've seen is the videos. All they've seen, they've never spent the time with this fun-loving, challenging 5-year-old that we have.
Young Caleb has fans from as far as Australia, Fiji, Kenya, Nigeria, and Ukraine.
Do you sing? I asked your wife if she did.
No, sir, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. We all know our roles and our responsibility, I believe, and singing is not one of those for me, so I will tote the equipment and I will drive the car.
Mm-hmm.
And
he really tries to sing.
But Daddy can't what?
Sing.
There we go.
Wow, we can certainly all agree Caleb has a bright future ahead of him. If you haven't seen any one of Caleb's full performances, do yourself a favor and check out my blog at Studio 5. Still ahead on Studio 5.
Not made from human hands.
He's got a voice I hope you'll love as much as I do, and the heart to match.
I feel as for me, when it comes to worship music and music in general, just learning how to be genuine in the songs that I create.
Get to know Alex Seals next. And welcome back to Studio 5. The countdown of the best in uplifting entertainment news continues now with number 3 and number 2. At number 3.
You ever seen the wonder?
With their Wonder project at the top of the charts, Hillsong United heads to the U.S. with a big surprise for fans.
You guys need to make a 1-minute Instagram video and tell us where you want us to come and why, and then maybe we'll pop up in your city.
This is a fan's chance to have Hillsong sing at a birthday party, wedding, or church celebration when the band visits the States from July 18th through August 6th.
What's the hashtag?
Hashtag Wonder in the Wild.
At number 2, Hillsong Young and Free.
It's ever the one I want.
The band, also from the Australia church, can count Justin Bieber among its fans. The pop star posted this from one of the group's recent concerts. Millions and climbing are viewing the Biebs rocking out to Hillsong Young and Free. He also posted new pictures of himself, spending time with pastors Carl Lentz, Chad Veach, and Rich Wilkerson Jr. And with that, there's now only one remaining headline in the countdown. We're going to bring that to you in just a moment right here on Studio 5. You know, we are always on the hunt for up-and-coming artists whose work is uplifting. This week, we've got our eye on Alex Seals, and she is one to watch. Let's begin with In the Storm. It sounds to me almost like an anthem. What's the story behind that?
To and fro, the waves crash upon me.
A few years ago, something very surprising happened, and it blindsided me, and it brought me into a very deep place of grief and not knowing how to love someone that was very close to me, and so I was just in my room, and the only words that I could come up with were, I will praise you, I'll praise you in the storm. And later on, while I was reading the Bible, I opened it up to Matthew 14, where it was talking about how Peter, Jesus comes to the people on the boat, and Peter steps out, and he's walking on water, but he sees the wind and the waves, and it starts to make him afraid, and he starts to sink. And so Jesus reaches out to him and brings him out of the water, and the storm subsides. And so that song was an anthem. It very much carried me through that season of not knowing how to go through each day.
Now, your project is called Under the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Why that title? What is it about this project?
Well, in Ecclesiastes, Solomon's talking about vanity of vanities under the sun, and there's a season for everything under the sun, and these songs came from different seasons. I wanted to express that there's hope in every season. Mm-hmm. God is faithful in every season, and so I hope that is one of the greatest things people will take away, that each song will meet them in their season, and they'll be able to find hope.
I love that God is faithful in every season.
Under the sun.
You got it. I love it. I love it. I see that you studied theater in college, correct?
I did.
So was music the passion?
Did you stalk me on Facebook?
I stalked you on Facebook. So was theater, music, what was the passion?
I felt the Lord tell me to shift into theater. I wasn't a real theater kid. I felt really like a fish out of water. But it was there when I took a musical theater class. And before, I was extremely terrified to sing in front of people. And so that very much established the fundamentals of singing. And he taught me how to just do it afraid. And so here I am, writing music now from that moment of learning how to not be afraid.
Wow. And now performing also in front of lots of people.
Yes.
That's a beautiful. So you weren't thinking that you would be on stage and out in the front doing this?
No, I started playing the guitar my freshman year of college, and I would just learn worship songs, and sometimes I would be in my room worshiping for 6 hours straight, and through that I ended up learning how to play the guitar. But it wasn't a means to an end of one day I will be leading worship for all these people, but it was just like, God, I love you and I love to worship you. And from that place, everything was just established, and I grew out of that place of just intimacy with God.
From the moment your single was sent to me and I started listening to it, I really love it. How would you describe your sound?
I feel like I've been influenced by a lot of different genres of music, and sometimes a song will sound like something else or have a little flavor of a genre. I'm like, that, I don't know where that came from, but you know, we're so engulfed in music. It's such a big part of our lives. So I guess I might be a product of a lot of different eras.
What's your prayer for this project as it is released and people out there now can consume it?
That they will know that God is there with them in every season, that He's faithful, and that even if they don't know what tomorrow brings, because we don't know what tomorrow is, but they can stand on His promises in our lives, knowing that He is with us, He is for us, He's gone before us, He's prepared a way for us, and He's prepared good works for us that we can walk in them, and that's my prayer.
What a great voice. You can hear more of Alex on her new project. It is called Under the Sun. It's available on iTunes, CD Baby, and other platforms. Up next on Studio 5, her voice brings cheers.
People fall in love in mysterious ways.
Her survival story brings tears.
Lying in the hospital bed with like bandaged head to foot.
Kechi Okwuchi joins us next. Welcome back to Studio 5. We have the honor of chatting with a contestant on this season's hit show, America's Got Talent, in just a moment. As we get ready for that, let's get to the #1 headline in this week's look at uplifting entertainment news. At number 1.
On July 23rd, 1967, Detroit was hit by a riot. We said it couldn't happen, but it did.
It's been 50 years since a police raid led to one of the largest race riots in Detroit in 1967.
Oh, man, look at my house back there. I ain't got no house.
Are you considering establishing martial law?
Well, I'm going down to get more information about the total picture.
This painful period of America's history is the focus of a major motion picture.
You don't talk about this to anyone ever. You understand?
The film really takes us there, watching it.
Now let's not be stupid in this situation. You need to tell me where the gun is. I got all night, people. Tell me exactly what is going on here.
Did you find yourselves breaking down, or?
Oh my gosh, yes. Every time they said cut, I just was going in the room, just cry. I had my brothers go in there, we all just, they'd pray over me. We'll all pray together, we'll just sing, just have fun, just to get out of that feeling for a while, because we were on that wall for for days.
Detroit hits theaters August 4th. And that headline wraps this week's countdown and brings us to our next guest. Kechi Okwuchi blew audiences away when she took the stage on America's Got Talent a few weeks ago. And it wasn't just her powerful voice. It's the miracle story behind the voice. We've shared it in the countdown on a previous episode of Studio 5, but we had to know more. So Kechi Okwuchi is here, and she is this week's Studio 5 Bright Spot.
Personally, for me, when it comes to the whole, knowing myself and applying, my vision to myself and making it something that's real, it's been an obstacle course so far. But my way has been to rely solely on God.
In this TED Talk, Kechi Okwuchi shares how her faith helped her to recover after a plane crash. She was one of only 2 survivors.
I try to include God in every single part of my life.
Tell us what happened to you in 2005.
December 10th, 2005 was a
day of national tragedy for citizens of Nigeria.
At 16, she boarded a plane with 108 other passengers.
It was about 25 minutes to landing when the pilot made the announcement that he would be starting his descent into the airport. And so the turbulence started, and at first no one really panicked because turbulence happens, but then it started to get really bad.
Just seconds before the plane crashed, Kechi remembers turning to God.
I remember holding my friend's hand from across the aisle, and she asked me, she was like, what do we do? And I remember saying, I think we should pray. But I don't quite remember, it was kind of like almost from like a removed point of view. I could like hear myself say those words. And the next thing I remember is just this really sharp, like metal scraping sound in my ears. And then I must have blacked out, because the next thing that happens is I'm waking up in a hospital in South Africa 5 weeks later.
She's endured more than 100 surgeries, and although her body is covered in scars, she is in hiding. She uses her story and her musical talent to shine a light on God's love and His restoration power.
I want to share my voice with America's Got Talent.
When your legs don't work like they used to before, and I can't sweep you off of your feet.
You now have more reason to keep your eye on America's Got Talent. Let's all pray and cheer on Kechi. She is still in the running for the grand prize. Still ahead on Studio 5.
I actually memorized all of those lines.
Grey's Anatomy star Sarah Drew has a practical prescription to treat unhappiness. And welcome back. We are almost out of time for this edition of Studio 5, so it's time to look ahead to next week. He's the 20-something artist being called the future of gospel music. Are you up on stage pinching yourself saying, Lord, I can't believe you've done this? What's that like?
I don't pinch myself until after it's all over. If you pinch yourself on stage, it might not go that way.
Yeah, true.
Just singing, ow! But it's very interesting. It's very amazing. My entire life, this particular section where I've been singing, these last 5 years, has been just absolutely ridiculous.
Jonathan McReynolds sits down for a candid conversation and joins us next on Studio 5. That story's coming next week, and I certainly hope you will join us. We have one more word in this show, and it comes from actress Sarah Drew. Perhaps you know her as Dr. April Kenner on the hit ABC show Grey's Anatomy. She has a practical prescription to treat unhappiness and frustration, and it's this week's final word.
In our culture today, there's a lot, it's very me-focused, and it's very like, if I'm not happy, I need to go there. If I'm not happy, I need to go there. And the thing that's so disappointing about that mentality is that you're just bringing all your junk to the next place if you cut and run. You just are. You're going to play those patterns out over and over and over again, and then you're not going to learn the bigger, deeper thing that you need to learn while you're fighting through the junk and the mess of it.
Thank you, Sarah Drew. That is a great word and the final word for this edition of Studio 5. Until next time, reach out and touch me at Ephraim Graham on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. And then be sure to come on back and see where Studio 5 takes you next week. Bye-bye, and God bless.